So most of you guys already know that they're putting predictive programming in the movies. In fact, the movies were created for predictive programming. That's what they exist for. Amongst other things, there's probably a few more reasons. But one of the reasons is to basically flash prophecy in the movies, make movies about things that are true and going to happen, and for various reasons they have done this. I've exposed a lot of that. A lot of you guys know about that. But in this video, I'm going to partially be talking about the movie The Terminator and something that I see in that movie other than what I've usually told you guys about that movie, which is, if you look at the names of the movies in Terminator, the series basically, it's all biblical. One of them's called Genesis, another one's called Salvation, another one's called Judgment Day, another one's called The Rise of the Machines, like AI is rising right now. It's all biblical, and it's telling you, if you want to know, it's there. You just got to have your eyes open, right? And so, one of the things that I've told you guys about the movie The Terminator is that the year 2029 is when John Connor, with the Resistance, fights against Skynet, against what they call artificial intelligence. And this is amazing. This is really amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Because that is the year of the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's amazing, right? You better believe they know, okay? They're not doing things randomly and stuff like this. And so that's one thing in the movie that you have to understand the timeline first. And then when the movie matches up and everything else in it, you're like, oh my goodness, right? So what I have here is two timelines. And the bottom timeline is the timeline in Terminator. And the top timeline would be the timeline of the birth and the death and resurrection of Christ. Okay? But what I'm going to show you is as how the movie The Terminator and the story of Christ run parallel if you look at it like I'm going to show you. So of course, I know on the Hebrew calendar there's no year 0, but we're using that as a marker. Okay? So on the Jesus timeline, in 0, right? The year 0 is not really a year, but we're using it as a marker. I say that Jesus was born in 3 BC. I've been saying that for a long time now. And then what we're doing is we're making a parallel timeline in the movie The Terminator. So if the year 0, when Jesus was born, 3 BC and 0, if we move that 0 and we make that the year 2000, like the Terminator timeline, the year 2000 would be like the year 0, right? It's a parallel. Well, this is amazing because if you go 3 years back from the year 2000 in 1997, just like 3 BC, right? 3 years back from the year 2000. In 1997, Skynet came online. You see that? So that's a pattern, right? To show, because then they show you in 2029 that Skynet fights John Connor, just like when the return of Jesus happens. So my point is this, is that not only are they showing you when Jesus comes back in the movie and what happens when he comes back, because he's going to be fighting AI too. But they're also showing you when Jesus was born. Because in the movie 1997, Skynet came online, they're showing you 3 BC. Count the year 2000 as 0, the parallel, and 3 BC, 1997, 3 years back, right? Just like the year 0, you go 3 years back, and Jesus was born. Well, 3 years back in the movie, Skynet was born. You see what I'm saying? So they're not only showing you the end, but they're showing you the birth of Jesus there in a mystery. Okay, now in this pattern, I want to show you something that is absolutely incredible. I've shown it before, but we need to talk about it again. There is something called the Dome of the Rock. And it's a major, major, major thing. And it's that big golden dome on this mount or rock. And basically, from what I understand, that the Muslims put something on a biblical Jewish site. So it's a very, very big deal. Okay, this is huge, a huge thing that happened when it was built. Now, when it was built, if you look it up, it will tell you that it was built or finished anywhere from 688 to 691 AD. Over 1,000 years ago, okay? That's when this Dome of the Rock was done. Now, depending on what year you put that at, it can have some variables, but it's just a few year difference, right? From 688 to 691, you have, 3 or 4 years that it could have been. That's what you get when you look it up. Now, the amazing thing is this, that if you go to the book of Daniel, in chapter 12, verse 12, he's talking about the last days. And it says, "Blessed is he who comes to the 1,335 days. However, God turns days into years. Sometimes he turns days into jubilees. If you turn those 1,335 days into years, and you start from the Dome of the Rock, when it was built, depending on exactly which year, you go 1,335 years forward, you come anywhere in between 2023, I know it says 24, but 2023 and 2026. So if we turn the days into years in Daniel 12:12, and you start from the Dome of the Rock, major thing, 1,335 years later, you come anywhere from 2023 to 2026. I mean, that is crazy because of the timeline that I've shown you guys, that I know already. I know it. 2029 is the end. 2029 is the second coming of Christ. And yet, 42 months before that is the wrath of God, the day of the Lord. And that starts in 2026. Okay? 2026, 27, 28, and part of 29. Just like when Jesus was on the cross and there was darkness from the 6th hour to the 9th hour. Extrapolate that from the 2026 year to the 2029 year. There was darkness. If you look in the Strong's Concordance at these years in the Hebrew, 5786 to 5789, it means two things. Blindness and slaughter. Those are the 42 months of vengeance. So again, this is amazing. The Dome of the Rock pattern with the 1,335 days turned into years, and you come to right where we're at.
So China has currently broken 2 world records with their drone shows that they were doing. The most recent one being in Shenzhen, which featured 10,197 drones lighting up the sky in celebration of the National Day. Now, this world record event took place on September 26th at Shenzhen Bay Park, and it set a new Guinness World Record for the largest number of drones flying simultaneously and also the largest aerial images created by drones. Now, they titled this segment Sky City, which drones were depicting tons of things in, regards to the architecture of the city, the heritage of the city, and they were paying tribute to traditions of the city. Now this was a week-long event, and each night they were doing this drone show with over 10,000 drones that are acting in unison to create these images of things wings across the sky. Drone swarm technology is enabling the coordination of these thousands of drones from a single computer. Now, obviously, this has wide-ranging implications as far as, like, beyond entertainment, like potential applications in surveillance, defense, and logistics. Obviously, this could be real spooky if that was used against, say, an aircraft carrier or something like that. Now, I'm sure that countermeasures for drone swarms have been developed over the years by tons of different host nations, and I'm sure that they're getting put onto ships and other large vehicles to prevent this type of thing from being able to affect them, but it is still kind of spooky.
The spooky thing is that this is what they're showing us, so what they actually have in technology is probably a lot more than this. And look at what they can do. Look at the technological advancements. I mean, look at what these over 10,000 drones are doing. They're creating, just look. And this is the kind of technology that is going to be used against the people, the defectors of the New World Order. Stuff like this. They can attach anything that they want to these things. They can, really, there's a lot they can do with stuff like this, but it's going to be used against the defectors of the New World Order in some way, shape, or form. And again, just like predictive programming, they're showing you their technology that they are going to use against many people in the last 42 months. That is coming at the last Trump. And it's just, when I saw this, I was like, geez, that's crazy. Look at that. Insane technology, guys. Insane technology. AI.